Hi, my name is Cecile Baumann and I'm your host and the founder of the company Ganz in Bewegung. I'm a movement and Alexander technique specialist. My business serves holistic thinking people who want to improve their mind-body connection. We are coming to you live from Zurich, where it's a bit rainy today. Our interview session today is with Anisa Safar, also known as the Tree of Life Guru, and she just wrote a book about emotional healing through art and meditation. We are so excited to have her here. But before I bring her up, I want to share what I mean by mind-body connection. The Ganz in Bewegung system we developed includes 7 defining components of being human. For non-German speakers, the meaning of Ganz in Bewegung is the whole of you in motion, which includes your movement, your body, your surrounding, your experience, your emotion, your thinking, and it's all connected with your breathing, and all is interconnected with each other. Our guest, Anisa, is a certified meditation teacher and certified resilience mentor, and an intuitive painter and teacher. Training and certifications are important, and she deeply believes that the result of her inner journey, learnings, and the challenges that she has overcome in her own life allows her to connect with, inspire, and serve her clients. She has supported hundreds of women internationally to feel more connected to their hearts and listen to their intuitive voices. Her passion is to sustain busy, successful, and conscious women who would love to improve their energy level, their confidence, their decision-making, and resilience, so they can enjoy better relationships and live a fulfilled, balanced, and joyful life. Anisa was born in the Middle East, where people enjoy the warm sun, in a country with kind and generous people, where one can smell fresh bread and food is prepared with love. She's blessed to have a spiritual family, waking up in the mornings with the holy prayers of her grandpa. She grew up with the energy of prayers and the smell of jasmine flowers. She was full of the unconditional love of her family and friends. She learned and experienced the presence of the divine. Life does not always stay the same. She left her beloved country and family at the age of 17 and moved to Italy to follow her dream for further education. It was the start of her inner journey, and challenges waited for her in the new country. On the one side, she was living her daily life, studying, learning a new language, culture, and then staying motivated to continue her university smoothly. She was longing for her beloved family and country. She was feeling overwhelmed and sometimes with thoughts. Stress had made her physically unhealthy. She was not happy with some choices and was then scared of making the wrong decision. At a certain point, she realized she was looking for joy and serenity out there in the world. And it did not feel good, as her inner intuition and soul wanted to take her to another path. She has been a soul seeker in her life and believed that we are all walking our life path and challenges are there to help us grow. She was seeking a transformation. She was longing to discover and started meditation, explored energy work, attended many talks, seminars, and training for mindfulness. Thanks to divine guidance and meditation, she has learned how to hold space and attend in presence of pain, welcome emotions, to listen to her heart, body and mind, to slow down, to allow, to accept, and to heal. On this path, she has learned how to put the gratitude in her heart and to approach life with compassion. She changed her life to align with her heart's desire, a life with more inner peace, more love and kindness through herself and others. In a certain point, she has decided to help women to bring more inner joy and peace and clarity into their lives. Her clients feel an immense feeling of peace after their first session. If you have any questions you like to ask Anisa Safar, please contact her directly. Now, let's welcome Anisa as I bring her up here. Welcome, Anisa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, dear Cecile, for having me in your amazing podcast today.
Thank you. We previously had some great discussion about different life aspects and your book. I have so many questions. Let's start with why you wrote this book.
Thank you for asking that. That is a very interesting question. So, to be honest with you, the idea of writing a book came to me 4 or 5 years ago. And it took me maybe 2 3 years to basically to kind of face my self-doubts, right? And give me purpose in order to be disciplined to write the book. So as you can imagine, the self-doubts and self-conversation was, there are so many books out there, right? Why you want to write a book? Or why do you think that you know it better? So it had been so many conversation between myself and myself that I had to deal with self-compassion and presence, and also get really to the source of my wish, why I want that to be out. So as you know, the book is about healing emotions, emotional healings through art and meditation. And I'm teaching meditative painting since 6 years. So every time that I was dealing with myself in conversation, why this book needs to be out, I remind myself how during my session I could help people. I could really change their perspective. I can guide them through their healing, transformational life. And it was stronger than my self-doubt, right? So it was like, Anissa, do you remember that lady, or do you remember that group, or do you remember that person? How, had that really awakening, or had that finding out what she wants to do in life, or she was happier when she was doing that exercise. And at the end, it was like, Anissa, you're going to do it. There are so many books out there, that's true. And from the other side, there are so many other people that they need this book because it is unique, as every of us is unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically the motivation behind it that pushed me and kicked me so forward that I couldn't resist. And it is around 6 months, 16 months that I have strongly and with discipline work upon it. And it was launched actually last Friday, 21st of July.
That's great. So happy that you took the time and took your passion into this book. It's really amazing that you did all the hard work. I can only imagine how much this takes you through a process. And also
That is
through
a journey.
self-doubt. That's for sure. I mean, with everything you produce yourself, you get out and you get a feedback, and we are all afraid of feedback. So I completely understand, even though I never had written a book yet, but you never know what's happening in future. Your book subtitle is The Colorful Secret of Creating Inner Strength. Can you describe for our audience what you mean by the colorful secret?
So in this book, we are going to use a lot of painting, right? So it does not give you techniques to how to paint. From the other side, it tells you how to use paints in order to get touch really to what is going on in yourself, in your heart, in your mind. And sometimes words are not enough. So I've seen by myself that words are not enough to express yourself, to talk about your needs. And from the other side, the colors, they allow you really to deep dive. So that is the secret basically of using colors.
How wonderful. Yeah, it's like in dance, you use music, to make the full picture. And I think, especially with emotions are something not working through words, actually, really, So all arts are working much better and faster to heal. So there are dance for healing, there are paintings for healing. To be in nature, it's really great. So I love the color, how you use colors to heal and painting as an act of artistry. This
That's
book
very true. And you know what you have said? So the scientific research, they show when your hands are in harmony with your toes and your eyes. So for a moment, imagine you are just, drawing something. And of course, here there are guided exercises. So it's not like that you need to start and paint something for yourself. So you come to the exercise and you get the pen, and with your eyes, you come to a certain harmony, and your nervous system and your mind, it just get to the relaxation status. So that is also the other part of the secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a whole body process. Not only body, it's everything, it's a holistic approach. That's why I like you, and that's why I wanted to have you here in this podcast so people can listen and hear what you have to say, because it's so true. It's a coordination of movement, of feelings, of thinking, of everything, all the components, you bring them together. And that's wonderful. So this book is for all who want to explore and deep in a creative path to personal development and emotional healing. Many health issues today occur due to a disconnection with oneself. So how can people find out if they are disconnected? What are the symptoms? How would you describe?
That is a very good question. So to discovering, one needs some awareness, right? Awareness even to the signs, to be aware of the signs. And some people, even they do not realize until it gets really bad. So one of the biggest symptoms that we see around us is burnout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Burnout that can bring to the depression or to the other problems. Then other signs just pop up, right? Being irritated the whole time, do not be happy. Of course, there are some days that you're not happy, it's normal. And at the same time, if it occurs like for 2 consecutive weeks that we're not happy and not finding joy, that is a big symptoms. Or not be able to sleep for 2 weeks, then it becomes sleep problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not having that motivation to wake up in the morning, not finding joyful activities that they were joyful, spending with family or going to nature, whatever that you like it, you're not liking it now. So it needs a little bit of that awareness that you say and observes, okay, there is something that is not going well in my life. I need to stop and see what is it. And if we do not do that, then potentially the bigger events that stop us, such burnout, depression, work problem, then they really come and they stop us in a way that we need to reset, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are the signs of not being connecting to our body, right? The
Yes.
other things can be that we are not grounded, so we cannot be focused, or maybe the smaller one, we cannot be focused, or even something that is very interesting and it's not divided, like being successful at work, be productive. So it all depends how grounded we are and how present we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking a better decision. How can we take a better decision at work? To be present, to be calm, to be in our body, right?
Yeah.
Also our communication with other people. So the aspects that are impacted by being present, being in a body and connected, they are huge. Basically, it is the reality of every and each person that I invite to ask where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Am I happy? Is there anything that I would change? And then from that question, everything can start, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I would have some of those symptoms or one of those symptoms, and I notice, actually, when I was a child, I was much more happier. So how can your book help to connect and heal emotional? Because I think especially with emotions, how to deal with emotions is not so well known. They are not so, it's coming now more and more, but it's, yeah, probably people need some more tools nowadays because it's so complex. our world.
That is very true, and that is a very, very good reflection, actually, right? Because we used to, until that we learn, we used to go with our emotion in a way that we say we are just swimming with them. You know, we are going to that direction, and we let ourselves be gone, taken with our emotions. So if there is no that self present, I do not realize, hey, that's an emotion. I need to deal with it. I will be gone with it. And it creates, of course, my humor, my mood, what I'm gonna do. It's gonna basically create my reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by learning how the emotions are generated in a life, each and different emotions, we can see how we can manage them. I want to be in control of my life as much as we can, right? We cannot be a lot, but that small portion that we can, I want to decide how I would like to feel today, right? Of course, universe can have 100 plans for us, and we decide for something and universe bring us in the other way. We cannot control that, but the portion that we can control, this book helps to recognize, to have the consciousness and awareness about different statements and also different vision. For example, for a moment we talk about forgiveness. I see forgiveness is a big point for many people, because they see forgiveness as something that you're losing control if you forgive. And in this book, you see how you can liberate yourself. And forgiveness doesn't mean to be in relation with that person or be in contact. It's just liberation of your heart, right? So we work a lot with the heart energy and with heart level to do different things instead of analyzing them, right? So this book again helped with giving a new vision, come to the heart space, solve some issues, you know, by writing, by paint, and then create another mentality, create new thoughts, because there are the thoughts that create our emotion at the end, and the emotion that we have, they impact our relationship with others, with ourselves, our actions every day, and it's our word, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually to be not afraid of emotions. You know, if you have tools how to deal with emotions, it can be very uplifting, can be very actually great. You know, it's really fantastic. If I'm very angry, I start dancing, and then I'm like, wow, I can let it out. You know, that's my way how to deal with emotions. But I can imagine that with painting, it's the same, because you can take as many colors as you want. It doesn't matter if it's nice or not. You can just put those paintings, those colors onto this sheet and just make something out of it. You know, you can just let it out in a nice way so you don't hurt anybody. And but it's afterwards you see the result. You know, you can feel it, you can remember that it's out and it's in the world and it's not anymore in your body and somehow stuck and block your energy. And if you feel like you can just go and do the same again. So I love the idea of this kind of going to your heart and be brave to let it out with controlled tools, of course, not just uncontrolled, but you have a way how to transform. So I
Very
love
well
this.
said. It's transformation, right? Because when it comes also on the outside, it gives you another perspective,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We stop that hamster running around of a thoughts. It's out. It's out of your system, as you mentioned, right? So the perspective changed totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have a holistic view about health and business. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Also about business, you know? That's very interesting.
You mean how healing can impact the business, how we work in the workplace?
Because in business, you can't let out the emotions, you know? You can't just draw things on the paper during a meeting, you know? It's not
Well, you can
working.
do that as well. I sometimes do.
Really? Okay, so probably in the
If
background.
your notebooks, right? So we are supposed to do not look at the other people's notebooks.
Yeah, okay.
It is a very interesting point because sometimes we forget at the workplace as well that we are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We are human beings. We are not robots. We are not a system doing a job, doing a task, right? We are human beings with all complex and beautiful um, capacity and talents that we have, and emotions and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if each person developed that awareness at work, really to say, I have respect for myself, I have respect for others, the first things that change is communication. So we start to listening more other people as well. Say, okay, I have opinion. There is no right and wrong. There is other opinions as well. Um, and I respect it. That is also fine, right? That is the first thing that I see. And when we have that perspective, that emotions or that anger maybe sometimes is less, right? Also have that compassion for other people. Sometimes I see that people complaining that, yeah, at workplace, my team members are not doing as much as I'm doing. It's like, that's self-compassion and also understanding. Maybe they have something, maybe they have an issue, and then talk about it. That communication is totally important. And just remembering we are different. We like different things. We are unique. Yesterday, I was approached by a lady. She's a very nice, beautiful, shining, radiant lady. And she wrote me, I do not like that you called your Facebook group Woman Circle, because in Woman Circle, there is no one leading. And I was like, that is absolutely fine that you don't like it. We are so unique, we are so different, and we have also different definitions for things. For me, when in a woman circle, someone can lead. We need someone that give that organizations, and otherwise we do not move, right? We just
Mm-hmm.
staying and we don't know what is happening. So that is totally fine. And whatever you're doing in your business, there are people that they do not like or agree what you're doing. By having that consciousness that, okay, she probably is right according to her experience, or he's right because they experience only that, and that is totally fine. And there are other people that they might think like you, right? So there are many aspects that if we have that awareness about our emotions, word, thoughts, actions, so we can keep our energy and do not lose ourselves in conversations or in the emotions of other people even.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. It's like how we deal with other emotions from other people, how they reflect
Absolutely.
and how they trigger us sometimes, if someone is like getting angry, how can you stay with yourself, be connected, mind, body, soul, having your feelings, be aware of what is triggering and if it has something to do with yourself or not. If you just can let the person be angry and it's fine, they can shout, they can cry, they can let out the emotions as long as I don't feel afraid or as long as I can deal with it, let's say it this way, and otherwise you walk away. It's a choice you always have. It's what you are doing with your emotions. That's so interesting. And I think if you train these tools you give us with your book, you get faster because you know the process. And all we learn, we get better with time. So if I have the experience how to release emotions, and I do it several times, I get better in it. And then probably I just need to write a word or draw something little and it smoothens away already. Can I imagine that this would work after a while? How is
That
your
is
experience?
absolutely true. Yeah, that is absolutely true because we have a method. If
Yes.
there is something and something is happening, you know what to do. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to that hamster mood, right? If someone makes you angry, you connect, you have the method. If you have a doubt at someone, self-doubt, you come to that method and you start talking the self-compassion, you go through that, right?
Yeah.
And as you said, as we do it every day, regular, we get better. That's a process. We are how do you say, human beings, we are beings that we live, right? And we can rewire our brain and the whole system, right? But how we would like to feel, how we would like to think, and how we would like to manage those things. So that is the good news, that we can really rewire everything. Just comparing myself, how I can manage my emotion now, and me 15 years ago, it's totally different things. I did not have um, visibility or knowledge about all these emotions and techniques and how they can be managed. And I was really easily grabbed in the emotions and anger of other people, So I can say that what you said, Anastasia, is absolutely true.
You talk about the 20 step-by-step practical exercises in your book. Can you give us a short little example so we can already have experience? Is this possible or not?
Sure. I have my book here.
Great.
So I can just tell you about some chapters. So we have the introduction and then we start practicing. So we have 20 chapters, as you mentioned. I can just tell you some of them. So we work about grief. We work about self-compassion. We work on shame, how to release shame. Shame is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So in each chapter, you have a part that you read and you reflect on it, and then exercise comes. Then we talk about silence. Then you have methods about how to connect with your heart, about confidence, about how to build self-care. Self-care is very important to prevent depression and burnout, as you know. We talk about breathing. We talk about forgiveness. That's one of my favorite chapters. We talk about how you realize your dreams in a practical way. We talk about gratitude, about grounding. We talk about fears, how to face your fears, how to plan, how to want to deal with them. We talk about how kindness can change your life. We talk about mother wounds. We talk about set boundaries for growth. Boundaries are very important as well, both for depression and for burnout, as you know. We talk about wealth, business, and prosperity, and we talk about practical way to manifestations. So there are the 20 chapters of the book that, just to give you an idea, it's like 150, 40 pages, basically. And you also have pages for practice. So you can keep the practicing like a journal. You can keep it here, basically.
Oh, wonderful. So, and you can switch, you can start wherever your focus goes?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a very good question as well. Yes, you can go through the, agenda and say, okay, I want to start on forgiveness, for example. It is what I'm dealing with. And it's not one time that you do it and it's done. You
No.
can go back every time that you need. You can just read it. It's like a manual. And then next time it change probably. And you can also compare the different artworks that you have done during the years, during the time.
Wonderful. That's great. You also have other offers. Would you like to tell us more about them? About how to connect, or when you have, for example, I imagine I have a grief or something, I lost a loved person and I'm in a depression, and I get your book and I try myself and it didn't work the way I wished, or I don't feel released, or I don't know, everything is overwhelming at the moment. So would it make sense to go for a private coaching first, so you can take people from where they are so they can use the book better
Sure.
for them?
Absolutely. So they should not do it alone if there is something major,
Yeah,
the big
traumatic
things, right? The support is always there. So what I offer 4 main pillars, I say. I offer 6 weeks resilience building, that we talk about resilience, we talk about meditation, lots of mindfulness exercise that really one gain awareness. That is that awareness that we were talking about where I'm standing and how I can make every day better. So they learn how to shift their mood, to be in control of their emotions. That is one of the main offers, the resilience. I offer also 8 weeks relationships coaching for women. So they learn where they're standing with themselves in relationship in order to build a love relationship which is authentic. And the other ones, I offer intuitive paintings. And the last ones, there's one-to-one sessions that they can be trauma, they can be meditation, or they can be resilience. It's basically coaching. It's not therapy, it's coaching. And the other things, that the last one that I offer, it is the chakra meditations program. We have 7 chakras, it is 7 weeks. So we deep dive and see the impact of how our chakras doing in everything, in business, in love. So it is very, very interesting. And the last classes, we had 120 women there. So it was amazing to working with them.
Yeah, that's really great. If I love also the aspect of if you have a good connection and a good way how to deal with yourself, you're better in dealing with others, right?
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. If you're happy, I think it is Buddha said that if you have roses inside of you, you give roses.
Yeah.
If you have trash inside you, you give trash outside. So it cannot be something else. If we do not have anything inside, we cannot give it outside, right?
Yeah. Oh, our time is almost up, but before we finish, what are the most important things you want our audience to take away?
The most important things is that we can have control upon our thoughts and our emotions. And when we gain that control, the life change and the opportunities change. And one of the very good practices bring gratefulness in life. So whenever that you see that you're upset, of course not when there's a big reason like you have lost someone. So in that occasion, I really invite grief. But I'm talking about, just you're upset with this and that. Bring gratefulness and see in that moment that you are in, what are the things that you're grateful for, and you didn't realize them because you didn't have presence or consciousness for whatever. And when you bring that consciousness and gratefulness to your heart, your whole nervous system, it just it's like warm and relaxed, and you start to recognize more and open the doors, and you can get rid of that negativity and sadness. So practice gratefulness.
Thank you so much, Anissa, for your time and passion. I appreciate your work very much, and I think your book is a really great partner during different difficult events in life. And if people out there want to have some tools to deal with emotions, I think that's really the one to take and to try and to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Cecile, for having me in your podcast again.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here, and I'm sure you gained useful knowledge and importance of being able to heal yourself from now on. And again, yes, always again. I recommend to get a copy of Anissa's book, Emotional Healing Through Art and Meditation, The Colorful Secret of Creating Inner Strength. It is available on Amazon and in Barnes & Noble. I will include the links under this video. The recording of this interview will be available on our YouTube channel at Ganz in Bewegung. Follow us for more content on Instagram and Facebook. All the best, take care, and let us know how you found the event.